Welcome back to the Chosen Baseball Journey with the one and only Karim Garcia, who is pulling double duty today because he's here speaking with us in English, and then he's off to go speak in his native tongue, Spanish, and he's going to be talking baseball all day long, apparently. So, welcome back, Karim. I'm Jonathan, and where are you interviewing today?
With a friend of mine in LA. He has his own program in Spanish, and we're gonna talk like we always do, baseball. You know, about the first quarter of the season is almost done now, and he wants to talk about the whole thing. So it's gonna be very interesting because a lot of things that you can actually talk about. You know, for the first half. You know, or the first quarter, I should say.
Well, do you know what? Things work out in funny, funny ways when you get interviewed, how you get interviewed, and we were supposed to be taping yesterday as the time of taping. And I had this feeling, Kareem, because I had the main topic I wanted to talk about that was going to be today's episode, magical episode 111. And I want to talk about Paul Skenes and what's happening with him. And of course, as we were taping, would have been funny because as at the time we would have started taping, the game would have been 1 hour long. Okay, so we were taping 1 hour after the game had started, and it would have been interesting. We would have had that discussion interview because it was quite an interesting game at the end of the day. So now we get to reflect on it after the fact, but it would have been a lot of fun. You know, I'll sum up where I'm going with this today. The Chicago Cubs, they saw Skeens for his first major league start ever. He's come back yet again, and they probably thought to themselves, "Oh, I can't wait to get our hands on this guy again." He wasn't that impressive. You know what the Cubs felt like yesterday? They felt like I felt the first time I went to Playa del Carmen, and I'm having the all-you-can-eat tacos, and I learned my first words in Mexico and in Spanish. And in Mexico, when you can't eat anymore, the first thing you say is "no más, no más." And I'm sure the Cubs were saying for 6 innings yesterday, "no más." All he did was get a no hitter, striking out everybody left, right, and center. Kareem, this is the real deal. Paul Skeens.
Yes, he is. Like you mentioned it, he not only struck out the side on the first inning, he struck out seven batters in a row. Can you imagine that? And the Cubs say, "Oh, this is a rookie coming for AAA. What can he do right now? It's not a big of a deal. He throws 100. A lot of guys throw 100. Yeah, right. This guy throws 100 with movement, with a second pitch that is freaking unhittable. And now they got a taste of, you know, what this guy can actually be. But again, this is the first couple, outings, and everybody's excited about this is the number one prospect in baseball. But the Cubs had a number one prospect that actually struck out 20 guys went back when in 1998. Do you remember that guy?
I
Kerry
believe I
Wood.
believe he was a lumberjack because he liked wood. Was that Mr. Kerry
Yeah,
Wood?
that's correct. So these guys, I think it's kind of like, the Kerry Wood, the priors of the era. Hopefully this guy actually doesn't get hurt and pitches for 20 years and breaks a lot of records because he's built for that. That's what I think.
There's so much I want to tell you. I have so many ideas in my mind. And of course, it comes out organically as we talk. So, one of the things is, he's a power celebrity couple with his girlfriend, the gymnast in LSU, Olivia Dunn. And so, you remember the movie Moneyball, right? With Billy Bean in
Yes.
Oakland. So, one of the things the scouts were saying, they were looking at the different prospects. They said, not going to take him. And they said, why? He's a great, great player. Doesn't have an attractive girlfriend, shows lack of confidence. Paul Skeens does not have that issue whatsoever. If he doesn't have the most attractive girlfriend in the United States, it's pretty close. And they are a power couple and a half. But I discovered the secret to Paul Skeens, and it's not the mustache. I know the mustache is cool. He's bringing it back. I'm going to tell you, there's going to be a lot of pitchers in college right now with mustaches after watching what he's done. But do you check your emails? Did you see the email I sent you late last night?
I know exactly where we're cooking. Where are you talking?
So, folks, if you want to know what Paul Skeens is doing, I think he's following this my book, The Bible 3.0, The Six Commandments, because in there I talk about lifestyle and what you need to do to be the best you. And yoga meditation, I'm sure he's doing it because he's a very focused guy. I'm sure he's drinking water, sleeping. Those are four of them. But what is he really, really big into? exercise and nutrition. And nutrition wise, the man is grill obsessed. Not a George Foreman grill, but he's into those smoker grills. And the guy is grilling up meat left, right, and center. He cooks everything on the grill. He's learned how to cook, and he's watching his food, his calorie intake when he's pitching, not pitching, day before pitching. And not only is he grilling, he's also very big into exercise and weights as far as strength, stamina, recovery. This is not a guy who's just going to bench 1,000 pounds and not thinking about it. Everything is very deliberate, very calculated. Sounds a lot like LeBron James to me. LeBron James did pretty well playing possibly into his 50s. I like what this guy's about. Paul Skenes is my new favorite pitcher.
Yeah, I was like you mentioned, you sent me the article. I was reading about it. He takes around 3,000 calories when he's not pitching, 4,000 calories when he's pitching, because he's losing a lot more weight, of course, during the 6, 7 innings that he pitched during that day. Also, he's taking shots of honey to keep his stamina up. So, if you didn't know and you want some, get me up, honey is very good.
Listen, my friend, as we were before taping, we're taping in the morning right now. I had my rice cooker going. I make a combination of two different oats in there. I put some medjool dates. This time I put plums. Sometimes I put pears or apples and shredded coconut, water. I cook it in the rice cooker, but then I like to top it up with a little bit of fresh raw honey when I eat it. That's my power breakfast. And it's not just grilling. It's interesting because he's really big into his diet. Paul Skeens and I do the same thing. We eat 4 times a day, very deliberate meals, timed meals. So I think he's into the intermittent fasting. He didn't say that. His grill is the Traeger Traeger grill. A friend of his bought it for him, and he was hooked. And so I'm not going to tell you the man won't get injured. He's throwing 100 miles per hour on average, pretty much 99.9. You're doing that repeatedly. I can only see this going to Tommy John one day, unfortunately. But he's doing everything humanly possible to put himself in the best condition. I figured this guy's partying, going with Olivia to all the galas. He must be drinking. He must be boozing it up and having the best time. And no. This guy is serious, serious. He comes into a Major League Baseball locker room and the veterans say, wow, I've never seen a guy this focused and so deliberate. He was having the conversation with Perez, the pitcher, right? Martin Perez from the Rangers, veteran pitcher. Perez said, I'm very impressed with his work ethic and his preparation. He's impressed with his preparation. He just had 2 starts. Good sign. Smart guy.
Yes, he is. He's showing the right things to do, to stay in the show, because one thing is to get there, get a couple good starts, all of a sudden you get roughed up a little bit, and then you're thinking, what I'm doing wrong. And we've seen it with other guys that rushed to the major leagues this year, and we talked about it before, you know. So Holiday, for example,
Yes.
and I told you when Skins was going to come up, I told you middle of May is going to be the time for these guys to come up. Let him season a little more in AAA. Let them have their feet wet in the minor leagues, 4, 5, 6 starts. And for a Holiday, with another guy, 150, 200 at bats, it's the same thing for a hitter or for a pitcher. Let him stay there. Let him feel confident, and now bring him up. Pittsburgh did it the right way. His first start, it was good, but not as good as the second one. And the only can wait for the third one to see what else can he do. Because he faced the Cubbies, which is a very good team. They're in second place right now, and they're good hitters.
And Karim, let's put this in reality. This is not sitting in Comerica Park. This is Wrigley Field. Wrigley Field dimensions. With the Cubbies hitters, I know they're not the Dodgers, but if I'm a pitcher that I'm gonna go face the Cubbies in Wrigley, I'm not feeling that. I don't consider. I consider that more of a hitter's park than a pitcher's park. Would you say that's correct?
Yes, because the ball, usually the wind is blowing out all the time in Wrigley Field. It's either going to right field or straight dead center. And all you have to do is hit a fly ball for you to hit a home run. I'm not saying that they're cheap home runs, but I'm saying you put a good wood on the ball and the ball is going to go. At least you're going to have a double to a home run.
And, you know, I reflect on it, and who has the advantage in this case? So he faced the same team twice. Now, do they have I would think in reality, the Cubs, the batters had the advantage here, in my opinion. They've never seen him before. They saw his stuff. I would think going into it, they would feel pretty good about it. And they hit him around a little bit. You know, he wasn't perfect in his start. I did not see this happening. I thought we are going to see a start where he gives up one or two hits, and it's going to happen maybe in the middle of the season once he really gets his stuff down. I didn't see this coming in the second start, plus against the same team. So I felt that they had the advantage as a hitter. Reflecting on it, if you saw a rookie pitcher in the first start and then you saw him back a few days later, would you not feel that you have the advantage over him?
Absolutely. Especially because I saw him two or three times to see their pitches, how he started and his put away pitch. In this case, his breaking pitch with two strikes. So now I'm focused on if I got early count, I can be aggressive. If I'm late on the count and I'm behind on the count, then I gotta sit back and look for a curveball, slider, a split finger, whatever it is. Now you have an idea. And for him, he's learning the hitters as he goes. Now for him, it's also helpful because he's facing the same team for the second time. So he knows what he did wrong the first time and tried to correct it in the second time.
Smart, smart guy. I gotta, again, so many questions and thoughts are coming to my head. When you were a rookie coming up, I remember Slim Kareem, and when Kareem filled out over the years, and you always looked like a strong power hitter to me, a guy who did not miss too many meals, a guy who's not going to eat tofu and a salad at dinner. He's coming to eat the meat. So I
Yes,
assume you prescribe to the grilled diet as well.
absolutely. Every day. I love eating meat. So
Well, I don't know what this guy can do for an encore. I mean, 11 strikeouts in his second game, six no-hit innings. And I went to turn on, and I missed the game. I was in the middle of a million other things, and I wanted to watch it. And I was just come back from another podcast taping that I was doing in person on from a different show. And I see a no-hitters going, and then I turn on the seventh, and he's out of the game already. And I think of Doc Gooden back in '86, and I say to myself, in a perfect world, can we just keep him going? But Kareem, we are living in the year 2024. There's no rookie pitcher, no hits after six innings, and got to keep him out there. You are pulling him. You remember Johan Santana? And Johan
mhm.
Santana, I think he had 160 pitches, something along those lines, when he had the no hitter for the Mets.
Yeah,
Kept them out there, kept them out there. And this was a guy coming off injuries and everything else. But I remember vividly that game, watching that Johan Santana game. Johan was never the same after that. There was no chance in hell Paul Skenes was going to pitch 9 innings, no hit, come anywhere close to 100 pitches. Definitely not exceeding 100 pitches. Not going to happen, correct?
that is absolutely correct. And it's kind of sad to see that. You mentioned Johan Santana throwing 160 pitches, throwing a no-hitter. But guess what? You probably throw one no-hitter in your life in the major leagues if you have a possibility or a chance. I'm not coming out. But Paul Skenes, number one prospect in the nation, number one prospect for the Pittsburgh Pirates, second start, 90 pitches. See you later, my friend. If you can throw 9 innings, 90 pitches, congratulations. You throw 90 pitches, 6 innings, hey, good job. That's a quality start.
You'd be Ronel Blanco, but he has his own issues right now. It's funny because Blanco is on both of my fantasy teams right now, sitting on the
It's a
bench.
sticky situation right now for him.
Sticky. Oh, you got me there. And I'd like to thank all the owners in both of my fantasy teams, because all of you were asleep at the wheel, and I picked up Paul Skenes the second he was announced to be called up to the major leagues. And 30 points later for me on each team from him. He
Uh,
did very, very well. All he gave up was one walk. I told you when we created our friendship, and I told you my philosophy on baseball. One of the first things I said, I want hitters that take as many walks as possible. I want pitchers that give up the least amount of walks. And when you are a rookie pitcher throwing 100 consistently, and you can locate it, Kareem. So, reading here from the article from MLB.com, the Cubs swung the bat 6 times in the first frame, whiffed all 6 times. All three strikeouts were also on four-seam fastballs registered over 100 miles per hour. Very few pitchers in the major leagues currently can have that kind of control on 100 miles per hour, that many consecutive pitches to start a game. You're not even broken in yet. This is
Yeah.
insanity. We are watching all the hype. Next Strasburg, next Mark Pryor, Kerry Wood, next Doc Gooden. He is setting the bar really high in the social media age, and he loves the attention. Bravo. Third pitcher since the pitch tracking era to strike out the side on pitches registered at least 100 miles per hour. Him, Hunter Green, Bobby Miller. Hunter Green. Love Hunter Green. A great pitcher for the Reds. But Kareem,
Yep.
Hunter Green, you will go look at his pitching lines. He could have a no-hitter one day and pitch 3 innings with 6 walks and 7 runs given up in a second, playing in that bandbox in Cincinnati. You take Hunter Green with control, and you have Paul Skenes.
Yep. Well, Paul Skenes is a different breed. Like you mentioned it, Paul Skenes is locating pitches right now. He was doing it in the minor leagues in AAA. He was showing how good he was. Now he's proving it in the major leagues at the top level. That's what they were expecting. But again, and I go back, they did it the right way. They given 6 stars in the minor leagues, 7 stars, whatever it was. Bring it back in the middle of May, when now you need him, because Pittsburgh it's not a first place, not a second place, but they're in contention. And if this guy wins 10, 15 games for them, that's a plus. They're going to be over 500.
And you put him with Jones and the rest of the rotation. They're very smart. They picked up some nice veterans like Perez, Chapman, who I still think is going to get it together. You have Bednar, who's calmed down already. He's had 7 or so outings with no runs given up. You have Bednar going. You have potentially 3, 4 really good starters going at a time. The hitting's starting to pick up a bit. This team is really, really scary. Skenes pitches on his splinker, the Skenes splitter sinker hybrid. Kareem, what the heck is a splinker? Can you help us with this? A splitter sinker hybrid? Is that a thing?
Well, he mentioned it. He's throwing 92 miles per hour as a sinker on a 2-finger fastball, which is a split finger. And it's only as a recipe for Tommy John. So hopefully he doesn't use it a lot, because a lot of guys, they use the split finger, not the splinter, like he mentioned it. That's, eventually they're going to have Tommy Johns, because they put a lot of stress on their elbows. And unfortunately, that's what happens all the time. But with 100 miles per hour fastball, if you throw 6 of those a game, I don't see a problem. But when you start relying a little more into that split finger sinker that he mentions, a splinter, then it's going to become an issue later on, and this season, maybe next season.
Help me, because I remember Mariano Rivera. Do you remember Mariano Rivera, the starter with hair?
Yes.
And then he decides, I'm shaving my head and I got one pitch and that's it. Do you remember the Mariano pitch?
Yes, sinker and cutter. That's the only 2 pitches he threw. And you knew it. He knew he was a cutter or a sinker. That's about it.
And I don't want to say he threw the cutter 99% of the time, but pretty darn close. Why? And he was pretty healthy, right? For most of his career.
Yes,
Why isn't everybody throwing a cutter?
because they're not Mariano Rivera. That's why. Usually he had a great location. He also had a pretty good fastball. When he wanted, he threw 94, 95, but he relied on his cutter, and he threw it 90 to 92 with movement. When a ball moves 6 to 8 inches and you trap on the elbows of a left-handed hitter, by the time you're reacting, it's just breaking your bat, usually, unless you cheat a little bit and open your stand and try to hit the inside pitch. But I mean, most of the times Mariano was breaking bats left and right.
And look, we're going to get into relievers in a future week, certainly. But I always said, you know what do you call a closer? A failed starter. You know what you call a country singer? A failed rock star. And reality is, you look at Skenes, you look at Mo, you take what Skenes is doing. If he was a closer, and he throws that pitch, the splinker, and that's all he's going to throw, this game is over. You know, there's not a point of starting the ninth inning. You might as well just give them the 3 outs automatically. And you know what? Skeens, if he can stay healthy and doing what he's doing, imagine this guy pulls a John Smoltz, pulls an Eckersley down the road, let's say 15 years into his career and decides I'm going to be a closer one day. I'm 36. I might as well just close for a while. If he can throw these, they're in big trouble. I mean, as he already holds the Pirates record since the measure of the fastball, 101.2. He's already set the Pirates record. Okay. The Cubs didn't put a ball into play until the third inning. His 100th and final pitch, so he did hit the 100. I thought it was 99. He did 100, was registered at 100 miles per hour.
So we're getting tired.
I'm telling right now, Pittsburgh, I'm telling everybody living in surrounding areas. First of all, Skeens was getting a lot of attendance from people in Pittsburgh going down to watch his AAA starts out there and AA starts. But when this guy is pitching, this stadium should be sold out. You're watching the next coming of Roger Clemens from 86, Gooden from 86. This is something so special. And from everything I've read about the guy, I've watched his interviews, how he's conducting his personal life. He has a lot of discipline. He has a military background. And having that military background and that kind of discipline, he carries that forward. This is a guy I think can actually pull it off. So if he's coming into your city or you live in Pittsburgh, it should be sold out every single time. This is fun to watch. This is Ohtani on another level from a pitching perspective. And I said it. Yes, I said it. I think this is even more impressive than Ohtani pitching. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Pittsburgh should only let him pitch in Pittsburgh. So everybody comes to Pittsburgh to watch him pitch.
You're not allowed to do that. But then it's funny because from a pitcher perspective, I know you've always been a hitter, but it was a big deal to get this guy on the normal 5-day rotation, and I still think they're gonna eventually go with a 6-man rotation. As if they're in playoff contention, they're going to a 6-man. They're going to watch his starts and everything else like they do in Asia. But look, if you start messing with his days, and sometimes he's on 8 days rest, some days 3 days rest, not going to be a good recipe for him, I assume. Pitchers are very much creatures of habit. I remember Frank Viola back in the day. Frank Viola on his day, he doesn't sign autographs, doesn't talk to anybody, very, very focused. Pitchers are really strange creatures, like goalies in hockey. Just very, very odd. They're the most superstitious on the team. True or false?
Sure, completely true. When I was with the Yankees, I sat right next to Jason Giambi on one side and Roger Clemens on the other side. So when Roger Clemens was pitching that day, all I had to do is turn my chair to the other side and not even look at him when he was going on this side. Because that day he didn't say hello to anyone. He was completely focused. He was a bulldog. He was a different guy. And usually he comes every day when he's not pitching, saying hello to everyone. It's a very nice guy, and you can joke around with him. But the day that he's pitching, forget about it. You don't even look at it. I didn't. So
you ever see the movie The Hangover? Famous movie,
yes,
the one where they lost the
they went to
baby and they're in
Vegas.
Las
Yeah.
Vegas and they black out. They
Mm-hmm.
should give David Wells and Jason Giambi their reality show and call it The Hangover, because from everything I've heard, who's the bigger party animal, Giambi or Wells?
It's hard to say, and I don't want to say it actually.
I knew you were not going to, but I had to go there for a bit. Look, it's public information. Anybody that Googles it will know.
Hey, let me
People,
tell you this thing. It's very close. It's very damn close. Well, put it this way: if Wells is not pitching and Giambi is playing, I think they go head to head. But if Wells is pitching and Giambi is playing, I think Wells wins.
who wins in a fist fight, Giambi or Wells?
Oh, Giambi easy. Not even a question.
His arms look like they're made out of tree trunks. He looks like a
Yeah,
scary guy. Like the bat looked like a toothpick in his hands.
yeah,
Absolutely.
very strong guy, very strong guy.
Did David Wells really wear the Babe Ruth hat? Did he seriously take a Babe Ruth hat and wear himself in a game?
Yes, he did. I didn't. I wasn't there, but he did because I seen the pictures, I seen the video, and Joe Torre was livid that he did it. He told him not to do it, and he didn't care. He got fined, and he was laughing about it.
And he talked about the perfect game. I believe it was the perfect game that he came in and he had a little bit of drinking before that. You know, it's funny in this day and age, you're never gonna see that. You're not gonna see another David Wells, another Jason Giambi ever. If you had Paul Skenes coming out and you had Jones come out and you had Holiday come out, and they had the personalities of a Wells Giambi in this day and age, media is not embracing them anymore. You can't. You have to be so politically correct and you have to be so proper. They're groomed with their agents. It was a different era back there, and you and I back in our day. Even
Yes.
you think about with your personality and you were outgoing, you fit very well in with the Yankees, but there was still an order to it. There was no chaos, but we don't see as many of these personalities anymore. And I don't know for many years if we're ever going to see another Giambi or Wells, quite frankly.
I doubt it. Nowadays, I don't think they're even serving alcohol anymore in the clubhouse. I know back in the days they start having problems with the DUIs, guys having some drinks in the clubhouse, driving away from the stadiums, and then getting pulled over and getting in trouble. That's why they probably stopped. Honestly, I don't know if they're still giving you a couple beers because I mean you can have a couple beers after the game when you finish. You're kind of thirsty instead of water. You've been drinking water all day. You might want a different type of drink. But nowadays, since I've been about at least 10, 15 years from the major leagues, I don't know if they're even drinking anymore.
Listen, you back in our day when you had the rookie that they gave them the little kitty backpack and they made him wear it all season. Whoever was the most rookie on the team, they had in there the tobacco and the bubble gum. Now the
Yeah.
tobacco's gone, and the same guy with the same backpack when he was going on the plane, what was in the backpack? The
A little
beers.
bit of alcohol in there.
Little bits,
Not
a
a-
little bit.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. Yes, a little
Now it's energy drinks and
bit. Yeah.
coconut water. It's so
Snacks
different.
and stuff like that.
But for a young pitcher out there in college, and you think to yourself, I had the misconception. I was sure Skeens was going to be a wild party guy. And you read about the discipline of where he went to school and how he conducts himself and how the veterans speak about him. I would say whether you're in college, you're in high school, you can never have good habits, good systems early enough. Skeens decided to do it very early in his career. He manifests, he's big into manifestation. He said, I am going to pitch in the major leagues. I'm going to see myself on that mound. And he was manifesting the second that he could play baseball. He was determined to be a major league player and do everything humanly possible. He combined his God given gifts with a strong work ethic and systems. And when you have that, you're unstoppable. I've always said that if I'm going to choose a baseball player, Kareem, I'm going to take the guy who's the hardest worker on the team versus the guy with the talents that's lazy. Would you be the same?
No, absolutely. I mean, everybody in the major leagues have talents. All right. It depends how you use it and what you do besides your baseball when you're on the stadium. Skins is the type of guy, like you mentioned. He's gonna watch his calories. He's gonna go to the gym. He's gonna work out. He's gonna see everything through. And some guys, they're gonna don't worry about it. They're gonna have a hamburger today. I'm gonna go and party a little bit, and you know we got games every single day. Doesn't matter if I go for four today. The next day I'm gonna get him, and I'm gonna go back to 300 or whatever. So I seen all of them. I seen guys that they're focused on their careers, and they go in and out in baseball. You breakfast, lunch, and dinner is baseball. And some guys they don't really care. They get hangover to the stadium and they rake. There is two different type of people. One of them lasts for 20 years, and the other lasts for 5 or 7 years.
I'm dying as a not just as a reporter and lover of the game, but as a fan. dying to ask you who is the least talented and who's the laziest player you ever played with. I can't ask you those questions. I know you're not going to answer them, unfortunately. So I'm going to
Well,
ask,
I gotta tell you what. Uh, remember David Eckstein?
of course. Yeah.
Well, David Eckstein, he wasn't the most talented people in baseball,
He
but
was
he
five. He
was
was
the
five
hard,
two. He was 5'2". What do you want from the man? He
the
wasn't
guy
5'2".
was a hard worker. Well, it's a 5'3". I'm just kidding.
Sorry, David.
No, no, he's a really nice guy. I love him to death. But he wasn't the most talented, but he worked every single day. He was, if they tell you to be there at 3:45, 4 o'clock, the guy was at 1 o'clock at the stadium, home and away, working, taking ground balls, getting better. And you know what? He lasted for more than 10 years in the major leagues. But he wasn't the most talented, and he knew it. But he knew he needed to work every single day to show that he belonged there. And he belonged there. He was a great player, but he wasn't the most talented by any means.
Laziest?
No, Lace is difficult to say. I've seen a bunch of them. You mentioned one of them right now.
I already did, eh?
Yeah, you did already, one of them.
Okay.
And it's not Yambi.
It- but it's funny because David Eckstein is the first to admit, I've read many interviews with him. He's the first to admit that he was the least talented guy and he had to do it purely off hard work. And David Wells is the first to admit to you that he loved to party, loved to hang out with the biker gangs, did very little prep, and had God, but he had the build for it. The Rick Russell build, the Babe Ruth build. We always talked about that, right? A little bit baby fat, does the body
The
good.
CC Sabathia build.
The CC Sabathia build, exactly. And you know what? The rubber arm, and it works, especially as a lefty. The portly, voluptuous lefty guys. And you know what? When do you remember David Wells really being injured? I remember David Wells pitching forever. It doesn't stick out because he was able to do it. I have one jersey, a game used jersey of a player that fits me. Kareem, I'm 5'6". I'm a buck 55. Okay. No major league jersey should fit me, but I do have one jersey I located that does fit me. Craig Graybeck, back when he was on the Blue Jays. Okay. And Craig Graybeck to me was very much a David Eckstein type player, not a big guy who, you're thinking, but not the Cal Ripken style shortstop second baseman, but the small guys. And back then, you wanted the small second baseman style guys. They were swift, they were quick, they slap hitters, they'll steal a base for you. And they're great for,
Knockable, knockable, Steve Sachs,
yeah.
those type of guys.
But now you look at Cal Ripken, you look at Holiday. Unless you're 6'5", you ain't playing shortstop. You ain't playing in the major leagues. That's the way it feels at the end of the day. It's funny how that works out. Now, the reverse. I know you've played with so many great players throughout your career. Does one particular guy stick out that when you played with him, you met him, you said, "This is the most talented baseball player I've ever seen. I've never seen God-given gifts like this." Played with and also saw on the opposing team. Anybody stick to your mind immediately during playing days?
Yes, it's a few guys, actually.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr. is one of them. When you see him taking batting practice, such a nice, smooth swing, played the outfield, flawless, running for a fly ball. He was just over there, just running easy and catching the baseball. He was full speed. He was crushing walls. That's the type of guy that's a fight-tool player. Then when you want to see someone on one or try to do something, you try to do the same thing that he does. To me, that was the guy that I love watching play, and I play against him. I got to meet him, talk to him. But it's a nice guy, and I mean, what else can I say about that? And I saw Barry Bonds with the power and everything else, but Barry Bonds wasn't a good outfielder. Juan Gonzalez wasn't a good outfielder. He was a great power, good hitter, MVP, whatever you want to say it, but he wasn't a vital player. None of those two guys.
Let's speak frankly. You had to claw and get yourself into the major leagues. Your father having a baseball background is, as far as I didn't see his plaque in Cooperstown. And so it's nice to have a parent that has played the sport, especially at professional level. If Ken Griffey Sr., if Bobby Bonds are plumbers, And these kids, Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr., do not grow up in major league clubhouses, do not have access to all the best coaching and parents that can work with them. I don't know if they're the players that they are. I don't know if they're in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if Barry Bonds does what he does. Should have been in the Hall. We'll talk about that another day. But having players that dads that not only played in the major leagues but played at a Hall of Fame caliber at different points in their career, and the kids grew up in those clubhouses, I would say major advantage, major, major, major.
It is an advantage, of course it is, because you are more familiar with the clubhouse and the stadiums and the whole scene of a major league. It's not a choker for them when they come from the minor leagues to the major leagues. Well, you've never seen a major league stadium full with the fans and cheering for you, against you, whatever. And yes, it's a little bit advantage, but at the same token, these guys had the God-given talent. All right. So no one gave to them what they had. No one hit for them. No one run for them. No one steal anything from them. They did it on their own. Yes, they have an advantage, but you had to still prove that you belong there to get there.
And I agree with you. We're on the same page. My thinking is like this: you take God-given gift and you take the strongest work ethic and you combine it with the ability to take that work ethic and do repetition in the proper way. For example, you take Ken Griffey Jr. and he grows up. Ken Griffey Jr. guaranteed taught him baseball the right way, the whole way, plus any other coaching he got. If he gets a high school coach that is just an amateur and teaches him very bad habits from the beginning, he could have the strongest work ethic, God-given gifts, but he's not putting in the right direction. You take it and you focus it, you're in another stratosphere. And this is where I see a Paul Skenes. I don't see Paul Skenes Sr. in the major leagues, but the guy had the work ethic from the military background, God-given gifts, repeat it in a proper professional way in how you're doing it. That's why you're able to come in as a rookie on your second game and locate your 100-mile-per-hour fastball like nobody can. He clearly learned the right way. He has the proper mechanics to be able to do that. He can locate his pitch anywhere he wants, whenever he wants.
Which is great, and like you mentioned it, great work ethic and great coaching, not only on his college, but in the minor leagues. You're going to give some props to the guys in the minor leagues that work with him and try to help him relocate probably the angle of his release on the pitch, because sometimes you can release the pitch a little higher and you put a stress on your elbow, you put a stress on your shoulder. And now if you make a better follow through, just little things that the regular guys or fans don't see, that the coaches that are over there then seen many pitchers through the years can actually tell you what we cannot. I cannot tell you from a pitcher because I'm a hitter. I can see some things, but I don't see everything. And these guys in the minor leagues that spent 15, 20 years as a minor league pitching coach and never been in the major leagues, they should also get a little bit of recognition because of that. Even if he was only for 6 or 7 starts, you know, all these guys are always checking that you have the right location, the right arm angle, and everything else. Plus, in the major leagues, it's easier because you got all the cameras in the world, and you can go back to the video and see exactly what is your arm angle and your release point and all those things and work on that. In the minor leagues, you don't have that.
As we end today's episode, and great points on him, I have about 5, 7 questions in my head. None of these are written down, but it's flowing through me like fine wine. So I'm going to rapid fire you. You can give 5-word, 10-word, 20-word answers, whatever you're feeling. But I want you to take your crystal ball, Kareem, because you're a pretty good predictor, except when it comes to the Blue Jays. We'll talk about that. Don't worry. But let's go to our crystal ball. Paul Skenes, is he going to see the minor leagues again this year?
Nope.
Is he going to see the minor leagues ever again?
Nope. Yes, because he probably have a rehab, one or two rehabs. So yes, he will.
I was going to catch you on that. I was going to see if you're asleep at the wheel or not. Oh, no, he's yes. So we know that. We know that. Okay. Is he going to get shut down before the end of the year?
No.
Pirates are making the playoffs?
Nope.
Okay.
Hey, they got great pitching, but you still got to hit the ball sometimes too, you know. And I'm not saying they're bad, but I mean, their division is not easy.
Their division is very not easy because I'm going to tell you something. The Reds are going to go on a 12, 15 game winning streak at one point, and people are really counting them out really stupidly because they still have more guys. Remember there's a guy suspended for a little bit of substance, whatever. He's coming back. McLean's going to be back. They're going to get guys at the trade deadline. They're going to get a couple more pitchers. Diaz is going to get it going. The Reds are scary, scary, scary. I think it's going to go right down to the wire, but I like the Pirates. I've been to a few stadiums in my life. Those Pirates fans are so passionate. I love you, Pittsburgh. I love your food. I love your atmosphere. Walk into the ballpark, the views with the water, sitting in there. It's so old school, old feel. I remember they had a game, a turn back the clock day. Dontrell Willis was on the sorry, that they had a similar one to Detroit when Dontrell Willis had their Detroit game, and Pittsburgh had one where there was no music playing. They only had the organ going, and they had the old time announcer with the old time microphone style, and you felt what it was like to be at a game in the 1950s. Detroit did that with Willis when he pitched. Pittsburgh had one like that. It's so cool, and Pirates fans embrace it. They know their city, they know their team history. So I think they are going to make the playoffs, but we're going to see about that. Paul Skenes, you're predicting Tommy John will come at some point?
Yeah, in the future. Not right now, not next year, but it will.
If you were a betting man, how many seasons does he play in the majors?
Over 10,
Over 10. If you had to give an
yeah,
exact number, what would you give?
15,
How many wins does he have in his career?
over 200.
Hall of Fame or no Hall of Fame?
And these days, because the pitching counts and everything, it might because of the wins and the losses and the innings that he pitched, he will put out numbers like Koufax did for the period of time that he did,
Paul Skenes, does he finish his career as a Pirate?
No,
Paul Skenes eligible for free agency. Does he bolt or does he sign at least one contract with the Pirates to stay there?
he's gone.
He's long gone.
Yes.
If the Pirates come to him right now and say to him, okay, we've seen two starts, we've seen all we need to see. I need you to sign a Atlanta Braves style contract right now, 10 years, you name your number, let's do it. Paul Skenes takes it or passes?
Takes it. But I don't see the Pirates doing that. They haven't done it, so I don't think they're going to start doing it right now.
Keller got a pretty decent contract. They locked him
Yeah.
up, but he's been a little inconsistent. But as a number one, he scares me. As a number three, I'm feeling pretty good about that. Overall, can he possibly match this second start at all this season? Like, are we going to see another no hitter out of him? Do you think he could? Are we going to see a 20 strikeout game? Can he possibly top this game?
Yes, I can see him facing Colorado Rockies or the Marlins and having 14, 15 strikeouts on a 7 innings or 6 innings. Uh, I won't say enough hitter, but I will say a shutout.
Would you put him in the All Star game this year if he gets three more starts?
Nah, difficult.
Will he will he be an All Star? And how many All Stars All Star games will he play in his career?
He'll definitely be an all-star pitcher. How many? It all depends on how healthy he is through his career. If you put a 10 years and he's healthy through 10 years, he probably makes every single year.
Right now, best pitcher in baseball?
No, only two starts. So other guys that have done quite good this season for him to put him in the category.
There's been some pretty good ones, I would say. And some have had very good starts. A lot have been inconsistent. But I gotta say, and I've been watching his games on MILB and Major League Minor League Baseball TV, and he's always the free game. So everybody should be watching that. So I'm watching the minor league starts. You're watching him, and you see his prep. You see how he comes, his poise. This guy is a different level. It's watching a man among boys. You can see if you don't know baseball at all and you've watched a few pitchers and you just watch the starting pitchers, you watch Paul Skenes, you can understand this guy is on a different planet than everybody else. He is so, so special. So I'm going to tell you, Kareem, we're sitting in the year 2024. 2045 will be at his induction ceremony at Cooperstown. I'm predicting now. I've seen enough that I'm ready to put him into Cooperstown. This guy is going to win 20 games at least twice in his career. I believe that at least two no hitters are in his career, provided that they actually let him go past 100 pitches ever. I think Pirate fans would be very excited. If I was his agent right now, I would say no to the 10-year deal at a low value. I would take a 5-year at a very much higher value. I think the Pirates, if they have any hell of hope of keeping a fan base, of attracting, they have to give him whatever he wants. They have to keep him immediately. You can't be in a situation like a Mookie Betts leaving your team, going to the Dodgers and doing what he's doing. And that was the Red Sox, and the Red Sox wouldn't line him up. So Keller, Jones, and Skenes. I know we've seen this before. We've seen Wooden prior. We've seen the Jays with Carpenter, and Escobar, and all that good stuff, and Holiday. You know, I think at the end of the day, you have to take that chance. You don't get many opportunities in life to get so much great pitching in a short time. So I hope they lock them up. I hope they're able to develop a couple more hitters. And we are going to live to see the day that the Pirates will be in the World Series in that case, but they're not going to win it. But good on them. Ben Cherington, very well known, appreciated executive, from his Red Sox days, from his Jays days. Pirates brought him on. It's tough. It's tough when you're not working with duffel bags of $100. When you're working with nickels and dimes here, it's a hard thing. But you know what? You have the TV deal, you have revenue sharing. At some point, you have to invest it in the team. And my rant for the day is Paul Skenes. They have to find a way. Look, Strasburg, they found a way with him, and Washington was very funny with their TV deal. Didn't work out for Strasburg, but they found a way, and they got to find a way with Skenes. You got to lock this guy up now, right now.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's not gonna happen. And in 5 years, you're gonna see him wearing the Dodgers, pitching right next to Otani and the rest of the guys that they have over there. So with deep pockets like the Dodgers have or the Yankees, it's difficult not to hit free agency at the top of your game.
So if you're a predicting man, his next jersey after the Pirates uniform is going to be a Dodgers
A
uniform.
white one, but I don't know if it's a spin stripe or it's just gonna be white and blue, but it's one of those two.
I'm gonna go on a limb. Paul Skeens is gonna be a pirate for life. And if he's not
Wow.
a and if he's not a pirate for life, it's only because he got injured enough and it was time for a change of scenery. But I love the Robin Younts and the George Bretts of this world that were on a team for their whole career. And I think the Pirates are going to find a way. They're going to build the whole city around him. And when you have a whole city behind you and a fan base and you're getting the money, he'll get the ad dollars regardless. I want to be the big fish in a little pond. I don't want to be the little fish in the big pond. They have Otani, they got Betts, they got Freeman. I think he wants it to be his team. I think he has that discipline within him. So, Paul Skeens, stay on the Pirates. My advice to you. Next week, when we come back, I hope you all like to watch Gloating because we're going to talk about the playoff pictures, and Kareem and I are going to revisit our playoff predictions from the beginning of the season and check in on our teams and see how they're doing. This is the Chosen Baseball Journey. We'll see you all back real soon.